Hello everyone, Jolene here from Bookworm Adventure Girl. Welcome to another Tag Tuesday. I hope that you are all well. This is where I talk about the books I'm reading, and I like to read diverse books and I highlight Canadian literature. If you are new to the channel, thanks so much for checking it out. Please hit subscribe and stick around. So today I am going to be doing the back to school book tag. The original tag was created by BangadyBangz, and I was very kindly tagged by the lovely Gloria from her channel Gloria Z. Thompson. Actually, I believe Gloria would probably say Gloria Z. Thompson. Sorry about that, Gloria. I Canadianized your name there. Now, Gloria tagged me in this like about a year ago, and at the time, I wasn't able to fit the tag in before school started, so it's been sitting on my tag list for quite some time. And it's kind of ironic now because Gloria mentions in her video that she tagged me because I work in a school setting, which was true. My career for 20 years has been in high schools and then more recently in a university setting. And for the first time in a very long time, this year I will not be going back to school. So there's been some changes there. I am sad about it, but I also see it as an opportunity for something new and exciting. So a new adventure, that's how I'm looking at it. So usually around this time I would be, preparing for new students and the upcoming year. So since that's not happening, I am very excited to be doing this tag to just remember all of my many years of going back to school. So let's get started with these prompts. Number 1 is Fresh New Outfit, a book with best dressed characters. So this was a hard one for me. I kind of started spiraling in my thoughts. Gloria talked about a book that I have on my shelves, and I do want to read it, and it's set in the Gilded Age, New York. So that got me thinking about books set in New York, because I love books set in New York, and I thought of The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Just the parties he would throw on Long Island, the 1920s, high society, and just the lavishness of everything, including the outfits. So then that got me thinking about the main character in Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, because she was based on an Elizabeth Taylor type character who was always dressed to the nines. So kind of either of those two I think would work for this. Okay, the next prompt is New Lab Partner, a new sci-fi book you want to read. So I'm not a huge sci-fi reader, but one of my favorite channels, Danny Dabbles, introduces me to a lot of fantasy and sci-fi that I wouldn't normally know about. And one book that is getting a lot of hype right now that really interests me is The Book That Wouldn't Burn, and this is by Mark Lawrence. Danny has talked about this book in a few of her videos, so I will link her channel below and you can go and check that out. She has also done a standalone review for it. Okay, prompt number 3, Favorite Teacher, a book with a great mentor. So for this one, I have to go with Dead Poets Society by Nancy Horowitz Kleinbaum. I realize that this might be cheating a little bit, since this might be a situation where the book is actually adapted from the movie and not the other way around. But this story is incredible in both forms. I loved the character of John Keating in this novel and the messages that he tried to instill in his students. He was a positive influence on them in a time, when they didn't really have many people who allowed them to think for themselves. I'm sure that I probably saw the film before reading the book. Robin Williams, who plays John Keating, was one of my all-time favorite actors, and this is one of those stories that has just always stayed with me. Okay, next is number 4, new supplies. Favorite new reading or writing accessories. So I don't have any new reading or writing accessories. I don't really spend a whole lot on those kinds of things, but I do use book sleeves once in a while, so I thought that I would show you some of those. I have them in different sizes for different books, so you can see them here. These ones have like a zipper closure. This one, if you like dogs, it's appropriate. Of course, books. This one has a little pouch. I don't know if you can tell. It has a little pouch that you can put something in. There's this one for the smaller, like, little pocket books. And this one, I really like this one. This one has a pocket too, also with a zipper closure. And I like this because it reminds me, my mom made a blanket kind of like this, so I really like that. And then some of my favorites, I will show those to you. Some of my favorites, I know you can't feel this, but the fabric is really, really nice. This one I thought of Gloria actually when I pulled this one, because it's all about bees, and Gloria really likes bees. So it has, like, you know, be positive, believe in yourself, be honest, be happy. This is another one that I really like. The fabric, another one with the pocket, and they're really sturdy, like they're pretty solid. I love maps, so this one has the map design. So this is the one that just has the closure, so not with the zipper. And then this one is kind of unique because it's like an envelope. So you can actually just put your book in like the envelope. And this one also glows in the dark, which is kind of cool if you like that. I know that MJ just did a video where she talked about like a book cover that she bought that was kind of cool. So I'll link that video down below too, so you can check that out. So number 5 is Old Friends, a book you want to reread or a book featuring a favorite friendship. Well, you all know that I love a good friendship in a book, and I had several to choose from, but I am going to go with A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara because, excuse me, even though this is, you know, one of the most emotionally crushing books that I've ever read, it is also a book that I may read again, and the relationship of the 4 friends is just depicted so well. Next is Ready for Sweater Weather, a book featuring cold weather. So for this one, Gloria talked about all the books that I had in mind, but not this one, and I know that she's read this one as well, and that is The Snow Child by Eowyn Ivey. This was a heartwarming read about a couple wanting a child, and the snow and cold just made for like the perfect atmosphere and was a key element to the story. I really enjoyed this one. Number 7, Open House, a book that made a memorable, good or bad, first impression. So I'm going to go with a good impression because you always want to make a good impression at the open houses. I've been to many open houses. So for this, I am going with a seasonal book that is the beginning of a seasonal quartet, and that is Autumn by Ali Smith. So school begins in the fall and is the start of a whole year of adventure. The same was true for me in reading Autumn. I read it in the autumn and I loved the characters. It began a year-long adventure of reading the quartet in their seasons, which I loved doing that. But Autumn still remains my favorite of the 4. And the main character, Daniel, is someone that I still think about. Number 8 is Too Early for This, a book you would get out of bed for, or you can change it to an all-nighter, the last book you stayed up too late reading. So I am not a morning person, and I don't really think there's any book that I would get out of bed for. I haven't spent the entire night reading a book since COVID, and that was because, well, COVID. So I did stay up later than usual to finish reading a part of a book. I am buddy reading it with Gemma from Gem of Books, and that was The Book of Night Women by Marlon James. And I am loving this book, and I am loving reading this with Gemma. I will be sharing more about it in my August wrap-up. So stay tuned for that, because this was a good one. 9 is The Textbook Costs How Much? A book you spent too much money on. So textbooks can definitely be like super expensive, and this year I haven't been really buying as many books, and when I have, it has been in used bookshops with only a few exceptions. So for this, I grabbed the book that I wanted to show you, and I can't remember how much I paid for this book, but I remember it being more than I normally would. But I had to get it because of nostalgic purposes. It's also a book that I still need to read, and it is Sesame Street, a celebration of 40 years of life on the street, and this is by Louise Gicco. I mean, talk about being an influence. Sesame Street, I think, has influenced anybody who was ever a kid and had the opportunity to watch it. I really do need to get to this book because it's been around a little while now, and it's huge. It's incredibly heavy. The flap cover, I did check this before I started, and it did say that it was $40. So I don't know if I paid $40 or like that's a US price and I paid the Canadian, which would have been, even more. So I don't think so. I think, but I don't remember. So it's a beautiful book, and I will show you some of the inside pages because it's too hard to open up. And but it also has a bonus DVD of the first ever episode of Sesame Street. So this is just a fun, neat book. And the final prompt is best school and literature you want to attend, or a book with a school setting. So for this one, I have to fall back on one of my faves and say Anne of Green Gables by Lucy Maud Montgomery. Anne loved school. A lot of the scenes took place in the schoolhouse, including Anne smashing her tablet over Gilbert Blythe's head, and their constant rivalry of being the smartest student in the class. Then, of course, Anne becomes a teacher, and I've just always loved her and her love for books and learning. So yeah, this would be my one for that. So that is the back to school book tag. I want to thank Gloria again for tagging me in this, and I'm going to tag a few people to do this tag since we are in the back to school season again. I am going to tag Jack at Spread Book Joy, Bandana Bookmom, Brian from Bookish, Jack from Jack and the Book Stack, and Jenn from A Jenn Who Reads. So if any of you are up for doing this tag, I'd love to hear your answers. If you're watching and you're like, I want to do that tag, please do. Or leave me your answers in the comments below, and I will definitely be reading all of those. I wish all of you who are preparing to head back to school or preparing kids to go back to school a smooth start to your year. There's always excitement and nervousness at the beginning of the school year, so I wish you all the best. I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. As always, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to make every day an adventure.